It looked like Adam Silver has found himself in some serious hot water over the management of the WNBA, and is they faking ratings?
Did Adam Silver just spectacularly fumble the bag and infuriate an entire fan base, all while trying to project an image of calm leadership? It seems the NBA commissioner learned a harsh lesson recently: never, under any circumstances, get in the way of Caitlin Clark's unprecedented spotlight. What began as a seemingly innocuous interview rapidly devolved into an absolute public relations firestorm, forcing Silver to execute a rapid, embarrassing retreat faster than a blown whistle in a crucial game. Now, whispers and reports suggest he's practically begging Clark to reconsider, especially after her earth-shattering offseason deal sent shockwaves through the entire league, fundamentally altering the landscape. The burning question on everyone's mind is simple yet profound. Should the WNBA be extending a heartfelt apology to Caitlin Clark, or should they be falling at her feet in gratitude?
He stepped out and started talking about the crazy nonsense of a civil war that's going on between Iron Man, or Iron Woman, Kathy Engelberg, and Captain America, Nafisa Carter.
Adam Silver likely envisioned a rather tranquil week, filled with routine, polished interviews discussing the WNBA's supposed growth, perhaps dropping a few strategically chosen corporate buzzwords, and then smoothly moving on. However, fate, or perhaps a severe misjudgment, had other plans. Instead of a peaceful PR tour, he unwittingly stumbled headfirst into what has arguably become the most colossal self-inflicted debacle the WNBA has endured all year. To be brutally honest, labeling it merely a mess at this juncture feels almost patronizingly polite, a gross understatement of the true chaos that unfolded. Because the very instant he dared to speak about Caitlin Clark and the league's internal dynamics, the situation spiraled dramatically and irrevocably downhill.
NBA Commissioner Adam Silver says Caitlin Clark has set the world on fire. Silver didn't reveal much about their brief conversation, but his admiration for Clark's achievements couldn't have been clearer. Speaking on FanDuel Sports Network, he said Caitlin Clark set the world on fire, not just this community. And it's easy to see why, from dominating college basketball at Iowa, where her famous number 22 jersey was retired, to becoming the first overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft, Clark has been unstoppable.
The pivotal moment arrived when Silver sat down for what was advertised as a relaxed, insightful conversation with NBC News, ostensibly about leadership, league expansion, and the usual array of carefully curated talking points regarding progress and inclusivity. Yet somewhere amidst the discussion of historic growth and maintaining positive relationships, he made a critical error in judgment. He veered off script and decided to openly address the WNBA's deep-seated internal issues, exposing the league's dirty laundry for all to see. It was then, in a moment of startling candor, that he uttered the quiet part out loud, confirming what many fans had suspected for years: the WNBA's struggles aren't merely economic, they are profoundly rooted in fundamental relationship issues. This blunt admission hit the league harder than a flagrant foul, essentially confirming what dedicated fans had been vociferously articulating all season: the WNBA, from its core to its periphery, is fundamentally broken. Predictably, social media exploded within moments, transforming a casual interview into a widespread controversy.
Just own up and step down. I believe that's what should happen. Kathy need to just walk away. We're going off into the sunset. Well, the half bright sunset, I should say, because it ain't gonna be a good goodbye. But I feel like at this point she gonna have to step down. Stephen A. Smith said it last week, and I'm saying it right now.
Silver, in his own mind, probably believed he was simply being transparent and honest. However, the unforgiving landscape of public relations is a volatile beast, and introducing raw honesty into it can be akin to carelessly striking a match in a fireworks factory. The results are explosive and entirely unpredictable. The immediate fallout was swift and severe. Players began casting wary, side-eyed glances in his direction. Fans unleashed a torrent of criticism and derision across every platform, and the internet, with its characteristic speed and wit, quickly crowned him as the official who finally, unequivocally, admitted that the WNBA was in a state of utter chaos. The ironic twist in this whole saga is that, despite the uproar, Silver's core assessment wasn't entirely inaccurate. The WNBA is indeed grappling with a mountain of challenges, problems stacked higher and more precariously than Caitlin Clark's record-breaking three-point statistics. We're talking about players consistently calling out referees every single week, executives seemingly going into hiding to avoid uncomfortable interviews, and Commissioner Kathy Engelbert maintaining an almost surreal facade, pretending that everything within the league is perfectly fine and thriving. Yet, the instant Silver specifically mentioned relationship issues, it was widely interpreted as him subtly, or not so subtly, throwing Kathy Engelbert under the bus. And to be fair, that perception isn't completely unfounded. His tone was reminiscent of a frustrated boss who just discovered a crucial piece of company equipment has been sabotaged by an employee, and now he's desperately trying to mitigate the damage without resorting to immediate termination. While he initially offered Engelbert a compliment, acknowledging her role in the league's historic growth, he immediately undercut it by stating, "We still have big relationship issues with players." This stark juxtaposition laid bare the undeniable chasm between historic growth and a profound internal disconnection. How can any league possibly boast about achieving rocket ship success when its own players are openly threatening a potential lockout on social media? The contradiction was glaring. Before we delve into the details of the subsequent apologies and damage control, it's crucial to understand precisely why Silver's seemingly innocuous comments struck such a raw nerve and ignited such intense public outrage. The undeniable truth, though perhaps uncomfortable for some, is that Caitlin Clark transcends the role of merely another player. She is unequivocally the singular driving force behind the WNBA's unprecedented surge into mainstream relevance and public consciousness right now. Every single game she graces, ratings don't just increase, they spike dramatically. Every time she speaks, a seismic shift occurs, and social media platforms are immediately inundated with trending discussions. It's reached a point where if she so much as sneezes, a dozen online articles are instantaneously penned about it. So when Silver during his grand leadership talk appeared to deliberately downplay her monumental impact, fans perceived it as a brazen act of biting the very hand that is tirelessly feeding the league, the attention and viewership it so desperately craves. And frankly, their perception wasn't wrong, because what was truly unfolding behind the scenes adds another layer of intrigue and controversy to this already complex narrative. Unbeknownst to many at the time, Caitlin Clark had just inked another colossal offseason speaking deal, with whispers suggesting it was valued at nearly $500,000 per event. She is quite literally generating an astonishing fortune without even needing to step onto a basketball court. Concurrently, the league itself has been in a frantic, almost desperate scramble to convince both the public and its own stakeholders that it can not only survive but thrive independently of Clark's singular star power. This underlying desperation explains why Silver felt compelled to project an air of unwavering confidence, grandly proclaiming the league's progress was on a rocket trajectory. The harsh reality, however, is that the authentic, unvarnished numbers simply do not align with these optimistic talking points, revealing a stark discrepancy between rhetoric and reality. Adding fuel to the inferno, reports conveniently surfaced the very same week, trumpeting that WNBA Finals ratings had miraculously doubled. However, a closer inspection revealed a rather significant and highly suspect change in methodology. Nielsen, the ratings agency, had quietly altered its counting process this year, now incorporating viewership from bars, airports, and even random hotel TVs into the overall total. So while the numbers appeared to be dramatically better, this improvement was merely a statistical illusion, a byproduct of revised accounting rather than genuine organic growth. It's akin to claiming you've suddenly grown taller because you decided to wear high heels. The fundamental reality hasn't changed. Fans, far from being fooled, saw right through this transparent attempt at statistical manipulation. They loudly accused the league of cooking the stats in a desperate bid to diminish Caitlin Clark's undeniable status as the primary, if not sole, draw. This is precisely when Silver's initial relationship issues comment became a catastrophic self-own, exacerbating the crisis. It painted a damning picture instead of championing the players, especially the one superstar who single-handedly made those inflated ratings even remotely possible. He appeared to be protecting Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Within mere hours, the digital floodgates opened, and a barrage of furious hashtags began flying across social media, signaling a public relations nightmare of epic proportions. The irony was palpable. While Commissioner Adam Silver was publicly pushing a narrative of unprecedented growth, the WNBA found itself in an escalating internal crisis, forcing him into a quiet, desperate apology tour. Fans, even those without a dog in the fight, were quick to point out the gaping chasm between the league's celebratory PR and the growing chorus of disgruntled players. How could the WNBA boast about soaring popularity when its own athletes, the very foundation of its existence, openly expressed a profound lack of trust in its leadership? It became clear almost instantly that the players were not just frustrated, they were absolutely fed up with the status quo. Among the most vocal critics was Nneka Ogwumike, who didn't hesitate to call out the league's upper echelons on national television, while Sophie Cunningham dropped hints about the terrifying prospect of a player lockout. Perhaps most damning was Candace Parker's revelation. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, she claimed, texted her more frequently than her own WNBA commissioner, Cathy Engelbert. Parker elaborated on her podcast, detailing how Silver personally congratulated her on major life milestones like the birth of her child, her retirement, and her groundbreaking Amazon deal. Meanwhile, from the WNBA's own leadership, there was nothing but crickets. That deafening silence wasn't just a lack of communication, it was the sound of the league's credibility fracturing and crumbling under the weight of its own internal neglect. Even rising superstar Sabrina Ionescu publicly confirmed she had a better, more engaged relationship with Adam Silver than she did with Commissioner Engelbert herself. Thus, by the time Silver delivered his much-anticipated growth speech, the veneer of positivity had completely worn off. The public, privy to the growing dissent, saw right through the carefully crafted PR smile. The situation became even more precarious with the emergence of a viral clip where Silver, in an uncharacteristic moment of candor, admitted that the league's problems were deeply personal, hinting at widespread animosity behind the scenes. He painted a picture akin to a dysfunctional corporate family meeting, where the executives might be smiling for the cameras, but beneath the table, the players were metaphorically throwing food at each other, signaling a profound internal breakdown. And just when the situation felt like it couldn't possibly deteriorate further, Silver made the ill-advised decision to mention Caitlin Clark once more, attempting to strike a neutral tone. However, every carefully chosen word only served to betray his true intent, making it sound as if he was actively downplaying her monumental, undeniable impact on the league's recent surge in relevance. It was an astonishing oversight, bordering on delusional, to discuss historic growth without fully acknowledging the singular force driving it. To ignore Caitlin Clark's pivotal role in the WNBA's newfound prominence is akin to pretending Taylor Swift didn't single-handedly sell out an entire stadium tour, a reality so obvious it's almost insulting to suggest otherwise. The undeniable truth is, Clark is the ratings, the attendance, and the unparalleled buzz that the league is currently experiencing. What makes this entire spectacle even more shocking is that Adam Silver is renowned as one of the most polished, media-savvy commissioners in professional sports, rarely making such glaring public relations blunders. Yet, here he was, fumbling a critical moment. Sources close to the league have confirmed that Silver has since been engaged in a frantic, quiet damage control operation, reaching out to Caitlin Clark's representatives in a desperate attempt to clear the air. This, in essence, is an apology tour, meticulously orchestrated behind closed doors. He reportedly conveyed to her that his previous comments were misinterpreted and emphasized his deep appreciation for her transformative contributions to the sport. Furthermore, he even went so far as to hint at wanting to involve her more directly in future league decisions, a clear sign of his desperation to mend fences. This unprecedented outreach reveals a profound fear within the league, the genuine possibility of Caitlin Clark doing a Tom Brady and stepping away from the court to pursue lucrative full-time media opportunities. The stark reality is that with her skyrocketing off-season earnings, Clark no longer needs the WNBA in the traditional sense. Her portfolio is stacked with mega sponsorship deals from titans like Nike, Gatorade, State Farm, and a host of other global brands. She's commanding fees for public appearances and speaking engagements that individually eclipse her entire WNBA season salary. If she so desired, she could literally take a year off from basketball and still rake in millions, a level of financial independence virtually unheard of for a WNBA player. This financial autonomy is precisely what's sending shivers down the spine of the entire league. The terrifying truth for the WNBA is that if Caitlin Clark decides to step back, even temporarily, it could be game over. Attendance would plummet, merchandise sales would crash, and TV ratings, which have soared to unprecedented heights because asterisk of her, would nosedive back to their pre-Clark levels. She isn't just a player, she has become the WNBA's entire marketing department, its PR team, and its biggest fan base, all rolled into one phenomenal athlete. So, when insiders whisper about Adam Silver's apologies, they are not exaggerating. He is absolutely, unequivocally trying to keep her happy and engaged. The power dynamic has completely inverted. Typically, players need the league, but now the league critically needs one player. This demonstrates the staggering influence Caitlin Clark wields, transforming the WNBA into something it has never been before, a league that now lives and dies by a single iconic name. It's both an impressive testament to her star power and a terrifying exposure of the system's inherent fragility. This precarious situation exposes a fundamental flaw if an entire league's historic growth hinges solely on one player's loyalty and continued participation. It's not a sustainable business plan. It's an incredibly high-stakes gamble. Adam Silver, perhaps attempting to project an image of control, concluded his interview with a forced sense of optimism, smiling directly into the camera and declaring, "I'm confident we can fix these issues and keep this league on a rocket trajectory." However, to the vast majority of fans watching, that rocket trajectory felt more like a ship that had already hit the moon, crashed spectacularly, and was currently engulfed in flames. Viewers couldn't help but wonder, rocket trajectory, where amidst this absolute chaos? Because right now, between the ratings controversies, the escalating player drama, and the very public leadership meltdown, the only thing on a truly rocket trajectory is the league's rapidly expanding bad press. This explains why Silver's apology tour is happening quietly, behind closed doors. He knows that if Caitlin Clark were to publicly clap back, the WNBA's already battered reputation would suffer another catastrophic, perhaps irreversible, blow. It seems that one pointed tweet, one perfectly sarcastic social media comment, is all it takes for the entire sports world to erupt and for headlines to right themselves. When Caitlin Clark once again subtly called out the WNBA leadership, the league commissioner, Adam Silver, found himself in an unenviable position, scrambling to prevent a full-blown public relations inferno before it could truly engulf the league. Yet, the fans, ever perceptive, were already sensing the underlying tension, quickly labeling his subsequent actions as desperate, even going so far as to accuse him of groveling to the very player who, by sheer force of her unprecedented impact, has accidentally ascended to the role of his de facto boss. The optics were clear, and the court of public opinion was already delivering its verdict. Because let's be brutally honest, in this exact moment, Caitlin Clark isn't just a star player, she is undeniably the boss, the driving force, the singular phenomenon, and it has become agonizingly clear that Adam Silver, the commissioner of both the NBA and WNBA, has only just come to this stark realization, tragically, far too late to shape the narrative or control the unfolding saga. Her influence is now so profound that it dictates the league's trajectory, its viewership, and its very relevance in the broader cultural landscape, a power dynamic he appears to be struggling to grasp, let alone manage effectively. Following the explosive aftermath of that now infamous NBC interview, it's not hard to imagine Adam Silver's high-powered PR team diving headfirst into a state of full-blown emergency mode. The digital airwaves were buzzing with outrage and incredulity, forcing them into a desperate damage control operation. The sheer volume of negative sentiment required immediate, decisive action, transforming their well-oiled machine into a rapid response unit tasked with salvaging the commissioner's image and, by extension, the league's fragile reputation. 1 minute, Silver was delivering carefully crafted statements about the league's organic growth and the importance of internal relationships, attempting to project an image of calm leadership. The very next, he was being mercilessly roasted across every social media platform imaginable, lampooned for what was widely perceived as a disingenuous attempt to pretend that Caitlin Clark wasn't the singular, undeniable reason anyone was even bothering to tune into WNBA games. The disconnect between his words and the palpable reality was so glaring that it invited ridicule, turning his official pronouncements into fodder for online mockery. And truly, you cannot fault the public for their swift and impassioned reaction. The unvarnished truth, the undeniable fact staring everyone in the face, is this: the WNBA, for the first time in its history, finally broke through and commanded mainstream attention on an unprecedented scale this year. And absolutely everyone, from casual observers to dedicated sports analysts, knows precisely who was responsible for igniting that seismic shift. Her impact wasn't just significant, it was revolutionary, a singular catalyst that transformed the league's trajectory. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring in a few more casual basketball fans, she ushered in an entirely new diverse demographic that had largely overlooked the WNBA before. We're talking about families gathering around televisions, young girls finding new heroes to idolize, and even seasoned NBA fans who hadn't paid attention to a women's game in years, suddenly tuning in with genuine interest. Her arrival wasn't merely an incremental bump in viewership, it was a societal phenomenon that broadened the league's appeal beyond its wildest dreams. We want to hear your unfiltered opinions on this evolving saga. Do you think the league will ever truly get its act together? Or will Caitlin Clark always be battling against the current? Drop your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments section below. We read every single one. If you found this deep dive insightful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more exclusive content, and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update on this incredibly complex and captivating story.